So I just finished watching the first season of Spider-Noir, and I don't usually talk about TV shows much, but you got my favorite actor in this, Nicolas Cage, playing the live-action version of Spider-Noir, who he also played the animated version in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. And look, I was looking forward to this show. I really, really was. It looked like a ton of fun. Like I said, my favorite actors involved. And I don't really talk about shows much, but it's Spider-Man. I had to talk about this. Something Spider-Man adjacent, of course. I mean, I love the character. So what's this show about? Well, this takes place after spoilers, because this could be filled with nothing but spoilers. Ben Riley, or his alias, which I'll talk about later, loses the love of his life, quits being the Spider, just starts being just a hardcore private eye detective, and then Silvermane comes into town with his somebody that's related to him, and it's hard to really spoil because I really want to spoil this show. I will, but it's hard to spoil for the first like minute of the review. Let's just say the character that comes to Nicolas Cage is pretty much a different version of a character from Spider-Man lore, and so yeah, he comes back into the fold. Bunch of villains start showing up with powers, and he has to stop them. But also trying to figure out what's this mystery going on with this certain character and what's her deal. So here's the deal with this show. I had a lot of fun with it. It was actually a really fun show, and it was a really fun first season. The overarching mystery is definitely my least favorite part about it because it's very predictable. And with it being in the 30s, they're really leaning into the tropes of the time. Like he has a sassy secretary, and he has a rival private eye person that he really doesn't get along with, and he gets hired from by people to solve certain things. And the way the dialogue is in this show is very on the nose, and it works for what it's going for. In a lot of ways, it kind of sort of did the same thing because I know it's Spider Noir, but still did the same thing as that episode in Ultimate Spider-Man whenever he met Spider Noir. It's very much so that kind of dialogue, and if you don't like that kind of dialogue or that kind of twang, then you're not gonna love this. Like I tried showing it to my girlfriend, didn't really get a vibe with it because of that part of the show, but it is fun. I will say that it's definitely fun. I had a pretty good time with the dialogue, and I thought it was very fun. Though sometimes it could be very on the nose, very it does a little bit too much sometimes. I really wish the show as it progressed kind of dialed back because sometimes it's bordering on parody, but it still works. What really works about this show the most is Nicolas Cage as Ben Riley, or his alias, which I'll reveal now, is Peter Parker, because he had to change his name after a big tragic event happened with the love of his life. And so it really works for what they're going for. And he's really good in the show. He pretty much hams it up the entire time because he's just a Spider Man that's depressed, which is, what Spider Man usually is. He's depressed, he's pretty much broke, and he's a drunk, an alcoholic, and he doesn't mind killing folks, which makes sense for the 1930s, especially for Spider Man, or the 40s. Um, he does a pretty good job as a character, and just like Haley did in Into the Spider Verse, it really works. And what holds this show back for me is, well, the action I like. It's very villain of the week. Like every episode, every couple, there's a new character with a new power of some kind, and if you're a fan of Spider Man, you will recognize like, oh, they got somebody who has sand powers, oh, they got somebody with fire powers, electricity powers, but they have like a much more 1930s version of what that power would be and what their name would be. My favorite was the parody. It's kind of like a parody of Electro. I actually really like that character. And it bring in Silvermane here, being played by Donald Gleason. He's pretty good in this as Silvermane. The character who I'll spoil here is pretty much just Black Cat. She's the one that goes to Spider Noir, and it really works for that. I love the origin story where he was working in World War I, had a patient that got infected with some kind of a spider disease. He got bitten by the patient with the spider disease. I don't know. It was very complicated, but it felt very comic booky. I haven't read most of Spider Noir, so I don't know if that's like from the comics, but it was still funny to me. And it was still really comic accurate because it's like that is definitely what a comic book character in Marvel would have their origin story be, especially when it's Spider People. because some of the Spider people, because it's just a bunch of variation on Peter Parker's origin, goes crazy with it. Like like the pig one, Peter Porker, he got bitten by a radioactive pig. It's really funny. I don't know, man. It's just I like whenever the Spider-Man like mythos and with the Spider-Verse does stuff that's like really weird and out there, and it works for the show. But like I said, it's very villain of the week. The dialogue can get a little tiresome sometimes, but Nicolas Cage kills it. Like he has great comedic timing, and I love the little moment where he's like, "Oh no, I'm drunk and I accidentally revealed who I was to my secretary." She's like, "You have revealed who you were like 100 times." And I just thought that was hilarious. Um, yeah, with the way the show ends, this could be a very episodic TV show in general. Like this could have multiple seasons. The action I did really enjoy. Some parts felt incredibly CW, especially the last episode with that ending fight. That felt extremely CW to me, which I was very surprised from because the rest of the action I thought was pretty good. And there's two versions of this you can watch. You can watch it in color, you can watch it in black and white. I'd watch it in black and white because I tried watching it in color, and watching it in color, the effects don't look as good or as decent as they do in black and white because in black and white it covers up a lot of the bad effects and it gives it more of a charm that the version of it with it being in color just doesn't really do. And I also this is just what I love about the character. I love that he has black webs. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. Most Spider-Man have white webs. I think it's nice. Um, with the way the show ends, you could get multiple seasons out of this, and it's just fun. It was just a fun show. It's for fun first season, honestly. Like, yeah, it's not perfect or anything. Like, it doesn't really move the needle too much on Spider-Man adaptations, but as the first live-action Spider-Verse character being brought into, well, live action, it really worked for me, and I could see this being a fun little show. And while it had its issues, and especially with some of the pacing, I still had a pretty good time with it. So I would give Spider Noir, at least season one, about an 8 out of 10.